everyone, and welcome back to my channel True Crime and Trials, where I discuss true crime and trials. My name's Lindsay, and I said I'd be back Tuesday. It's obviously Wednesday, but we have an update on Bob before I get into the witnesses. The defence try for a mistrial, they try for a delay. Bob has a UTI, he has a catheter in, which they're more than happy to show to people in the court. This is without the jury in there. He was found on the hospital floor, apparently. Not the hospital floor, his cell floor. The defence are just trying to make it way, way worse than what it actually is. But the judge is having none of it. The trial goes on. So next up, well, they put a blanket around him to try and cover it all, and Bob makes sure that the jury can see exactly what's going on. He's not stupid. He keeps moving around. You can see that, he's got jail clothes on. You can see the catheter bag. So next up is Susan, or Susie Harmon. I will be calling her Susie in this testimony, because we're obviously talking about Susan Berman as well. So this one is Susie. She knew Susan Berman because her sister was friends with her. She was roommates in high school, and then she later became engaged to Susie's brother and became very close friends. Susie was about 9 when she first met Susan. Susie went to Susan's wedding to Mr. Margulies. His name is actually Mr., and you can see a picture here. Mr. later passed away of an overdose. With regards to Susan's financial situation, she knew she was well off, but towards the end of her life, it became evident that money issues were a problem, and everyone helped her with money because nobody wanted to see her struggle. Susie even encouraged her to ask Bob for money. Susie never loaned money to Susan. She gave it. She freely gave her money, and she said she gave her $500 a month for a year, and she wishes she could have helped more. It's crazily generous, but Susie had plans to see Susan the Christmas she died, and she'd arranged for Susan to come over on Christmas Day. Obviously she didn't turn up. Susan Berman never told her that Bob was coming also. Susan called her one day to say she needed to speak to her, and Susie says Susan sounded agitated and she was speaking quickly, and Susan told her that her friend Bobby, is what she's always called him, had had a fight with his wife and she didn't know what she was going to do. They had a fight and there was an accident on the stairs and she had to do something. She says Susan was planning on doing something, but she didn't say what, and there's no doubt in Susie's mind that this is what Susan told her. Before I'd heard testimony upon testimony about how Susan likes to tell stories, she embellishes, she lies. I would have been fully on board with this, and a lot of her friends are saying the same thing, but now it's hard to believe anything. She's saying the only thing that's backing this up is how dodgy Bob is, to be honest. He's made himself look guilty without Susan saying what she said, so that's the only thing that's making me believe that all this is true. So the cross-examination, Mr. Chesnoff wants to go over some of the interviews Susie had with law enforcement, starting with the 26th of December 2000. He asked her if she remembers telling them that Susan always had serious concerns about security. She can't remember if that was her phrasing. She may have said something like she locked the door. Mr. Chesnoff doesn't clarify anymore. Susie also said that when she couldn't reach Susan for that Christmas Day get-together, she went to Susan's house and climbed through the kitchen window, which Mr. Chesnoff points out, if Susan was that extremely security conscious, then it wouldn't have been that easy for Susie to get in. And this was within a few days of Susan being discovered dead. Susie also told police that she didn't know anyone that would want to hurt Susan. Susie never mentioned the phone call she had with Susan because she says it wasn't about that, it was about Susan's murder. So she obviously, didn't put two and two together at the time. Why would you think, your good friend's been murdered? You wouldn't think that the conversation you'd had with her about somebody else's incident would need to be said with regards to Susan's murder. This is what most of them have said, to be honest. She didn't think it was relevant at the time. So on the 6th of January 2001, another law enforcement interview, so Susie told them about Susan having trouble with her landlady and that Susan was suing them to be able to stay in the house. Susie also had told them that Susie had told her that Bob had a terrible trial about his wife's disappearance, but that Susan Berman's testimony cleared him. Susie doesn't remember saying those exact words. She's confused about why she would say trial and testimony when it just didn't make sense to her, but that's apparently what she said. And then Mr. Chesnov asked her if she remembers telling law enforcement that Kathy had a cocaine problem, but she's adamant she wouldn't have known anything about that. But it's written in a report that she told them that's what Susan told her, but Susie can't remember. And she admits Susan liked to gossip but didn't embellish. I don't think a lot of these friends knew the difference, to be honest. 15th of January 2001, she didn't tell them about the alleged accident that Susan had told her about, but again, she wasn't questioned on it. But basically, she didn't want to implicate Bob because he was Susan's friend. In November of 2015, she spoke to Mr. Lewin on the phone. She told them she was a little confused if Susan said these things about the conversation she had with Susan. Basically, it was that long ago, it was hard for her to remember. She even said she was to be hypnotised so she could remember better, or in her words, be more accurate. She also said that she had been influenced by what she had read. Susan had told her that the case was going to be reopened again, and Susan told law enforcement that Susan didn't give her the impression that there was anything to worry about. The redirect. She had never read or seen anything with regards to a staircase, so obviously she could have only heard that from one person. So now Susie is saying that when Susan told her what happened, Susan told her it was what Bob had told her. Recross, Susie now saying that Bob had told Susan is the first time she has said this. And Mr. Chesnov goes through all the law enforcement reports to prove that she hasn't actually said that until today. So again, it's 50-50. Do you believe Susan, even though you know that she's prone to lying, embellishing, making up stories? But like I've said, we know Bob. So there we go. I'll be back with more in the next video. So until then, bye for now.